Okay, welcome everybody. It looks like it's time to get started with our session. I appreciate all of those of you who took the time to be able to join us today. I just want to introduce myself real quick before we get started. So my name is Thane Dickey. I'm the Industrial Hemp Program Manager here at the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food. I run the day-to-day operations of the hemp program, and the purpose of today's webinar is to specifically talk about our new agricultural information management system. A lot of you have already heard about it. We've had a lot of issues as we've been going live, and we're trying to resolve those issues as best as we can and get everybody connected. So today, just share my screen. Just give me one sec. So today we're going to be talking about the UDAF Agriculture Information Management System. We call this system AIMS, and we're going to be covering a few different things. We're going to be mostly doing live demos of the system. I have created a account to demonstrate what you guys should be seeing as you're trying to log in, access your accounts, and so on. We're going to be covering logging in, the Utah ID system, and what you have to do to be able to get connected with your Utah ID if you're having troubles, connecting with your account, so finding the business or the license that you're associated with, what available forms are on the system that you can fill out, such as product registration and retail permits, processing licenses, and so on. And then we want to talk about a few other extra features that are available, such as the current hemp registered product list and how to view licenses and certificates for your accounts and see the applications you've submitted in the past, and so on. When we are finished with this demo, I will be sending out to everybody who we sent out the invite to. I'll be sending out a link to the recording for this video for you to review later. I will also send out my PowerPoint. The other pages on the PowerPoint are mostly going to be references, so I may refer to websites or places that you need to go for help, and I will include those on the other slides on the PowerPoint. And we'll also include the contact information for the team members that you'll need to reach out for specific questions and so on. And then the very last thing we'll cover is a way for you to be able to reach out to us directly right now to say, I'm having this particular issue logging into the AIMS system. So we can try and triage those issues and get those sorted as soon as possible for those who are having trouble logging in. So without any further ado, I'm actually going to just start right at the top. So the very first thing is I wanted to discuss is what AIMS is. Now, AIMS is our agricultural information management system. This is a custom-built computer application that we use to be able to track all of our software, or all of our licenses, our product registrations, and so on. And I have created an account to be able to log into the system and show you guys what you should be able to see. Now, at this point, UDAF has only built into this new AIMS system organics, industrial hemp, and medical cannabis. So if you happen to have other accounts or other licenses or anything like that with UDAF, such as bedding, kratom, food establishment permits, and so on, none of those things have been changed by this, and you'll still handle those in the way you have before until we get those other programs onto the new AIMS platform. So the very first thing I want to cover here is this is the landing page on my PowerPoint. The link is there. We can also find it from the UDAF industrial hemp page, which I also provided the link on the PowerPoint, but the website is agbusiness.utah.gov/s. And this will bring us to this particular page right here, which is our new information management system. Now, the first thing that I wanted to touch on while we're at this particular place is right here at the very, very top. It says industrial hemp registered products. Now, those of you who are more familiar with our old list, if we went to the UDAF .gov website, which 2 seconds. So this is our industrial hemp and medical cannabis website. It's already is available right now. It's ag.utah.gov/industrial hemp program, or you can go to the main page and you can navigate to us with this link up here on the banner. On our industrial hemp and medical cannabis division website, there is a link here on the to log you into the AIMS system right here. And we also have some basic guides that are going to be covering the similar information that I'm covering today, but in step-by-step guides with screenshots and written instructions. We have some basic ones here on our main page: how to register and create an AIMS account, how to update and create a Utah ID, and updating profile and contacts. And then below that, we have links to each of our specific pages, such as cannabinoid product registration, industrial hemp laws and rules, cannabinoid processor licenses, lab licenses, retail permits. On each of those pages, I have the same links for helpful information, guides, but I've included some additionals on each of those specific pages, such as on the retail page. We've included a link on how to submit a retail application in AIMS. Okay, so those of you who are familiar with our old website, when we went to the industrial hemp product registration page, we had a link at the top of the page to be able to see right here our registered product list. And that list would take you to a spreadsheet that would show a current list of all the registered products. That list has now been replaced, and it is replaced with this link here. If you click on the link from our product page, it will take you to the same location. And this list is updated in real time as we approve and deny licenses, I'm sorry, products. So every product that we have that is currently registered is on this list. You can use the search bar to search by the product registration number. You can search by the product name. You can even search by the company name as well. This is actually a big scrollable window. So if you scroll over just a little bit, you can actually see the company name as well as the website that they've given us when they registered these products as well. So for those of you retailers who are on this call, this is a place to look for registered products. Now, I'd like to point out a couple of things specifically is we have a date here. This is the date that the product registration expires. So if a product has not been renewed by the manufacturer and this date hits, the product expires and it falls off of the list. So if you cannot find a product on this list, it means it has either expired or it was never registered in the first place. And in either case, they should not be sold in the state of Utah because they're not allowed to be sold here as they're unregistered products. We very rarely remove products off of the list before the time of expiration. In the times that we have done so, we have sent emails out to everybody that we could. These were usually cases where there was safety concerns or other problems with the products, but we don't just remove products just on a whim. And so as long as you keep an eye on those expiration dates for the products you carry, you should be good to go. In addition, every product now through our new AIMS system has the ability for the registrant for that product to be able to print out a product registration certificate as well, which as retailers, you can reach out to your product registrant people and ask them for those certificates and see if they'd be willing to provide them. I'll show you how to find those in just one sec. So the public complaint box up here, currently it only has the medical cannabis complaint form. We will just stay tuned for more feedback forms located there. As of right now, in all of our emails, there is actually a link for you to submit feedback to us. And so we welcome you to do so. We're only interested in improving and becoming better. Once we're here, you're going to need to log in. The login button is up here at the top right corner. Now, the thing about this login is it uses a Utah ID. Now, just a couple words about Utah ID is this is not something that is controlled by or managed by the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food. The Utah ID system is a secure login platform that is implemented statewide for many state resources, and the state demands that we use that as login for security for all of our systems. So if you are having trouble logging in with a Utah ID and you get issues. Once you say, yes, you're logging in from North America, it should bring you to this Utah ID login page. If you have any issues with this, you cannot log in. UDAF staff cannot help with this in any way. The point of the Utah ID system is to be a secure platform without a bunch of people across the state having access to your accounts. Only the Utah ID people have access. I have included in the PowerPoint a link to the Utah ID's website. So if you have any questions and you're not sure why your Utah ID is not working, you can reach out to them. Some common issues is you say you forgot your password and it asks you for the last name of the user who created the account. And if you don't remember who created the account, if multiple people share an account or so on, without that last name, you'll find yourself not being able to reset the password. So it's mostly password issues. If you have any troubles like that, you just need to reach out to Utah ID. Now, within the AIMS system, if you have if we have your email address tied to the account that we've created in the system, and you log in with a Utah ID with that email address, it will connect you directly to your account. So for example, my email address is tdickey@utah.gov. If I had an account in AIMS with that email address and I logged in here, it would just link me directly to that. However, we understand and we've noticed that a lot of people may have a different email address tied to their Utah ID. And so it may not connect you right away, which might take a little bit of assistance from UDAF side to get you connected properly. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here. Let me just pull up my login information. Now, Utah ID does require some 2FA. The default is it emails a code to your Gmail account. And so that's the way I'm going to show you right here. If I pull up your my Gmail account associated with this, I get a Utah ID code. You can log into your Utah ID separately from UDAF, and you can change your security information and so on. The website is located on our PowerPoint, but it's just id.utah.gov. We're going to submit here. So now I am logged into the system. And so we see here, this is the very first thing that everybody should see the very first time they log in, unless you get that perfect scenario where we already have the exact email address on your account. Now, in this case, this account that I picked, Eugene Everyman, his email address isn't associated with an account here. And so the first thing it pops up is says, do you have a registered account? Now, when it asks you this question, what it's looking for is if you have ever had a permit with us, a retail permit, a processing license, product registration certificate, or anything like that, then you should have an account in our system. Okay. If you select yes, and you cannot find the account in the system and you're still having issues, you can reach out to us and we can help see if we can identify which account is in the system. It may be that an old user who doesn't work at your company before created that account, so we might not be able to find it, or depending on what the account was called in our old records or so on. There's a variety of reasons, but we can help. If you do select no and you already have an account, well, if you select no, regardless, it has you create a new account. You come up with a business name, address, contacts, and so on. You are free to do that, even if you do have an account already, and we can help you connect your old account to your new one and merge the two together if we need to. The caution against that would be is if your old account has your old licenses that need to be renewed, they will not show up on the new account until we merge them together. So my suggestion would be is to reach out to UDAF staff via the form that I give you at the end of this if you're having trouble finding your account. So in this case, I'm going to say yes, because Eugene actually does have an account before. And in this box, you can search up, and it'll search up the company names for any of the companies that we have licenses for to try and find your account. And so my company is called the Tip Top Hemp Shop. And so I start typing it here, and it comes up, and it's going to ask me, it shows me the zip code to help me identify that. And I'm like, yeah, that is my zip code, and that's my shop. So if I say yes, one of two things happens. In this case, I have been registered with the account. And when I hit finish, it's going to bring me to the home page. One thing that a lot of people see at that point is they will see an account pop up that will say the primary account, or this account is already registered and the primary contact has been notified. What happens if you are the primary contact and you're getting an email from a different email address saying that this other login wants access, but you can't log in because it's the other account that's trying to log in? If that's the case, what has happened is it hasn't been able to match your email address specifically to this account. And so the contact will be parked in what we call our portal account, waiting to be assigned to a specific account. And if that's the case, what needs to happen is UDAF staff needs to connect you to your proper account on the back end. Or if you have other contacts already on the account and it's not the first time you've logged in, your primary contact can go add you, which I'll cover in just a moment. So in this case, I'm logged in here. I can see my tiles for organics, medical cannabis, and industrial hemp. This is going to be associated and more geared towards industrial hemp, like I said, not medical cannabis or organics. I would suggest reaching out to those programs if you're involved with those things as well. Before we go into the particular forms, I just wanted to go over our dashboard and our homepage here. So not only do we have the tiles for the different programs, but up here at the top, we have this link that says My Dashboard. Now there's several items of use here that you can find. The first one here is My Draft Applications. My Draft Applications will house any applications that you have filled out that you have not completed and eventually gone all the way to submission. So if you halfway finish an application and you close out of it or something like that, you will find your draft applications here, and you'll be able to select the different program and you'll see an application listed. So in this case, this account, Eugene Everyman filled out hemp application 9519 for a product registration and never finished it. So if I actually click here, it'll jump me right back to the spot that I had been working on that application previously. In addition to My Draft Applications, we have My Applications. These are completed, submitted applications. They will show any applications that you have filled out, what the application status is, what type of application it is, and what sort of record it's for. So whether it's a retail permit or a tier 1 processing license or a product registration or so on, that will be listed here. And the date that it is submitted will be listed right here. This one doesn't have a submitted date because I did it on the back end, and so it's missing that date. But you can actually click on this link right here and you can download your application for your own records if you need to. I would suggest everybody do so. But it'll show everything you filled out in the application, including your signature and the date that you signed and so on. In addition to this, we have this button up here that says Make a Payment. As of right now, the only payments that will show up here will be for citations. You can pay your fees for your applications online as part of the application, but if you tell the system that you want to pay offline with cash or something like that, then you have to call the front desk and make a payment. We're working on getting this to show up those payments as well. So if you selected cash, but then later you want to come back and pay with a credit card, you'll be able to log into your account and make any payments on any outstanding licenses or anything like that. But that's coming down the road. So just as a preview. We also have My Change Requests. So change requests specifically, we have, not to be confusing, but we have two types of change requests in this system. One of them is a profile change request, and that's what will show up right here. Your profile consists of your account's address, mailing address, and your contacts and your some other information like that. In order to change that information, specifically your address, you have to have approval. So you'd submit a change request to be able to change those things, because some licenses, specifically like hemp processing licenses, have restrictions on where they can be located. And so we have to approve any new locations if somebody's moving or changing or something like that. Those types of change requests will be shown here. We also have change requests that are change request applications that allow you to make changes on currently submitted applications, which I will go over in a few moments. So once again, they'll be listed here. I don't have any change requests for this account, so I don't see anything. The last thing here is My Licenses. Right here, I have active licenses. Any licenses that have expired or lapsed, have not been renewed, or are currently in process or whatever that are not currently active will be listed right here. You can click on the link to download the certificate. And we can see the certificate right here. This is for Tip Top Hemp Shop. I have my address. Here, I have the license year. I have the location where it is, because that could be a different location than the company address itself. I have the license number, the issue date, and the expiration date for this, all listed here. So this can be hung in your store. It can be shown to inspectors if you're or anybody else that needs it to be able to prove that you have an industrial hemp license, and you can collect those yourself just by logging into your account. We no longer are going to be sending those out to customers manually or via email, that customers will be able to do it themselves securely through their Utah ID and logging into their account. If you do want a paper copy that's printed out with the on the official department form, you can do so, but you have to reach out to the front desk, and it costs $15 for that. Otherwise, you can just print it out yourself. Now, in addition to licenses, under active licenses, we would have retail permits and we'd have processing licenses, but we also would have here our hemp product certificates. I don't have a product currently registered under this account, but if I did, it would be listed right here. The product registration certificate would list the product name, the product number, the company, the expiration date, and the approval dates, and so on. So our goal was to hope that people who register products could send a link they could download the PDF of their certificate and send those along to the retailers, or the retailers could request those certificates from the product registrants. So that could just be another way for them to easily be able to show that the products that they have are currently registered, and they have certificates showing it. So just be aware that those things are there. Besides those items on the dashboard, I want to cover the profile up here, okay? So I'll show you in just a second on the retail permit. We'll do a demo on that one specifically. However, your address, your physical address, your mailing address, and your contacts all come from your profile. And so if you've gotten to a point in an application where it's asking you for an address and there's a part of the address missing, but the box is grayed out and you can't type in it, and it won't let you continue on, or the same with a contact, most likely the issue is your profile just needs to be updated with the appropriate address. Maybe there's part of it missing, or maybe a contact is missing a phone number, and then we require a phone number in order to have a contact on an application. So in order to make those changes, you're just going to go up here to the little icon in the top, click right here, and you're going to click on profile. So in the profile, we have two things that you can change. We have your account information, which includes several things like your entity type, your website, your address for your physical and your mailing address. Now, many people have accounts. For example, we may have a chain of gas stations that might have, 150 retail permits. The address that is on your profile is your profile address for your overall company. If a retail permit or processing license has a separate address from the profile address, that information can be indicated on the application as you're filling it out as an additional location, which I'll show you in one moment. If your profile address is blank, though, this is where you change it. And what you have to do is you have to go here to edit profile. And it asks you to edit the information. So it's not that you can't edit it, you just have to edit it in the right place. Now, when you update the address and everything, this is the change request I referred to, that it will require us to approve it to make sure that everything is good to go. The couple of things I wanted to touch on while we were here besides address was our entity type. Now, entity type specifically, there's 3 types, and they each have different things that they can do, these types of accounts. An individual is a person, one single individual. This exists because in some of our programs at UDAF, you might license, say, a individual pesticide applicator, and they have a license for them, but they're not a business. They don't have any other permits or anything like that. That's what type of account individual is. A company account is just a store a business or so on. You can have within a company account any amount of permits, licenses, or product registrations underneath it. And that would allow one single login to manage all permits, applications, product registrations through that one single account, right? This is a useful option if you are one person who handles many licenses for many different businesses, whether it's different branches of a whether it's like different branches of a gas stations, or whether it's multiple products, all sorts of things. That is the designation. Now, the corporate HQ designation is a setup that allows one account to be over several, as a parent account, to be over several child accounts underneath them. What this means is the parent account can fill out applications for the parent account and for any of the child accounts. So if you have a corporate office that manages the applications for many retail locations, but they are the ones who handle it, then that might be a worthwhile thing. But each person who logs into each individual account for each store. So for example, if I had a corporate HQ account for this Tip Top Hemp shop, and then I had several other businesses that operated underneath me, if I want those people to fill out at those other businesses, if I want them to be able to fill out applications themselves without filling out applications for all of my businesses, then I would set them up as child accounts underneath my parent account. And so the parent account would be a Corp HQ, and all of the child accounts would be company accounts. Okay. The only reason we would want this one is specifically if you are, if things need to be absolutely separate as separate businesses completely. If you are one individual, I'll say it again, who handles all of the applications, the licenses, and so on, I would suggest to have your structure set up as a company account to avoid the number of logins, because every account needs a unique or a Utah ID, which requires a unique email address. And so if you don't want to have 100 different email addresses and Utah IDs to log into several different companies, then the company option is appropriate. Like I said, and please reach out to us. I've also specified this in my instruction guides on my websites as well. So this last UDAF program affiliation, industrial hemp is what you should be if you're talking to me in one of my programs. However, you may have medical cannabis or organics, or later down the road, you might have bedding or whatever. You can have any of these checked of programs that you're working with. So your same account, as of right now, if you had organics applications and industrial hemp applications, they could all be together under one account if that suited your needs as a company. We would just want to make sure to select that you're involved in both of those programs so we can filter appropriately on our side. So once I change this information and I click next, I see it didn't have a weird. I don't know. I didn't have a county. But once I update this information, I will get a message here that says, I'm sorry. It asked me one other thing I wanted to touch on, which is DBAs. These are doing business as. And so if you have several businesses that operate underneath one overall company, and I say I have Tip Top Hemp Shop and I have 5 other smoke shops that have different names, and I need DBAs, I can have them listed right here. Right, you would just click add DBA and you would just type in the name. As of right now, it's just a list for our references and your own references. As we move forward, we're hoping to have each of these DBAs be able to be tied specifically to applications and so on, to keep them a little more clean on who was what. At the very end, it'll say here, case 1201 is registered against your change request. So that means that the UDAF Hemp team has been given a request to say, hey, Tip Top Hemp Shop needs to update their address. Now, if I was to go back up here to my dashboard and my change request, you would see that case there, and you would see the status of it, whether we had received it, whether it was in process, whether it was reviewed, and so on. But once we approve it on our side, then your profile will update accordingly. If we can't approve it or whatever, we'll reach out to you and ask if we have any questions or anything like that. Now, the other thing that can be updated here is contact information. So every account can have one primary contact. A primary contact the main thing that they can do that other contacts cannot do is add other contacts. So if you are the primary contact on an account and you have another employee that you want to fill out applications for you, you can come into this profile and you can click edit contact, and you can click new, and you can create a new contact. You can also let us know you can also edit the current contact that's in there. You can update phone numbers, you can update the names, email addresses, and so on. If they're involved in other programs, any of that kind of stuff, you can go ahead and update yourself. And then the thing that's different about contacts is it does not require my approval to add or take away a contact, because it is your business. And so the primary contact can do that. If you guys lose like the account for primary contact, like let's say Eugene Everyman here leaves Tip Top Hemp Shop and go work somewhere else, they can reach out to UDAF and we can connect a new user, either an existing contact on the account or whoever we need to that account, so you guys can continue to function. You would just need to reach out and let us know. But if you do have a primary contact that's currently active, then they can add other users here. Okay. Once we add another user here, it'll say your inputs are captured. And then once we refresh, then your other user would show up right here. If you don't go all the way through to that point that says your inputs have been captured, the user won't show up. You have to continue. You've got to click that next button. Okay. So now we've covered our profile. So that's just as a reminder, that's to update our account address, a mailing address for the account. We've covered how to add contacts. All these things, like I said, just as a reminder, they are step-by-step guides on the UDAF website that I will make sure you guys have the link to with a PowerPoint to be able to look at them in detail. We've also covered you need a unique email address for Utah ID to log in. Every account you're associated with will need a unique ID associated with it. So if you have 3 or 4 accounts, just know you will need a Utah ID for each one of them, and to be able to log into that account directly. Each user can only have one primary account that they are logged into. So if you have a situation where one user needs to get into multiple accounts, but they can't be rolled together, that's a corporate HQ situation, and please reach out to us and we can set that up for you. Those kind of situations usually are best to have a phone call and a discussion to kind of lay out exactly how things need to be set. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to do, I did want to cover one thing I forgot to mention. The AIMS system is really optimized for desktop at this particular time. Our developers are currently working on updates and working on fixing issues that we have as we speak. But as of right now, we have heard complaints that the registered product list and other parts of the system don't necessarily work very well on mobile. If you're trying to use a phone or something like that and you're having a hard time, I would suggest sitting down to a computer and doing it on a desktop through a web browser. That's how it was optimized to work, and you hopefully will have better results. Specifically with the product registration page, I've heard that on a phone, it's like this little slice that's barely an inch wide, and it's nearly impossible to look at. Let's see. Like I said, ultimately, if you can't find your account when you're trying to register your account, you can't do it, and you don't want to create a new account, just reach out to us. We'll do our best. And like I said, with the form that I'm going to give you, that is going to be our primary source to sort Salesforce issues out right now. We've been very buried in not only renewals, but Salesforce issues. And so we're trying to triage them to get the login issues sorted as fast as we possibly can. So I encourage you to log in as soon as possible. Or to log those issues if you're having an issue as soon as you can, so we can address it. Now, one other issue I did want to share that we noticed just the other day is it has to do with the link. It's not that anybody has done anything wrong, but I think a few retailers and some other license holders have wanted to share with other people the links to things like the industrial hemp retail application. And so they've probably right-clicked and copied the link address here, right? I don't know exactly why, but if you go to any link besides or web address besides the one that I shared with you, agbusiness.utah.gov/s, with this other stuff after it, it loops you past the Utah ID login system, but it'll still somehow let you fill out applications. This is a bug we are working on. So if you find yourself filling out applications and you didn't have to log in, that's a problem and you need to let us know. But what happens if you go far enough and you create a user or an account or anything like that, the next time you try to log in with an actual Utah ID, you get what's called an authentication error and you get boxed out of your account. And it's because there's a duplicate user in the system created in this weird way. So just please keep an eye on that. We're working with our developers to sort that bug out specifically. So no matter which site somebody gives, it'll loop us back to the login page. But just please be aware of it. So let's see. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was our particular forms here. So as of right now, we have our processor application form. This allows us to apply for a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 processing application. We have our retail application and for our retail permit, and we have our product registration application. Now, the purpose of this meeting is to not go heavy duty into questions about product registration details or retail permits or so on. I'll mention it again at the end of the meeting, but we do have we're going to start next Tuesday. So I sent out emails to all of you yesterday. But we are going to be starting a once every other month hemp licensing meeting where our goal is to put more of a face behind the people at our department and to work with people to help educate as to what we are looking for, what we expect, upcoming legislative changes and upcoming rules changes, all of that kind of stuff as far as the thing, as our program, as well as providing a form that you guys can fill out to bring attention issues up to us, then that we can address in following meetings. So I strongly recommend that everybody pop by for that meeting next week. And we'll be covering more. Next week's meeting will be more of a broad overview of the program, and then each subsequent meeting after that will be more geared towards a specific type of thing. So when we go in, the system is simple as clicking on retail application. For in this case, I'm going to do this one because this is our simplest application. So the first thing is it has you do a privacy statement, basically saying that you're entering information to the system and you understand that we're using your information to allow you to operate in the system. And then everybody has to have to agree to these agreements and acknowledgments. These are basically things saying that you understand that you can be that you're responsible for checking registered product lists, and you have to make sure people are 21 and so on. And each application may have different agreements and acknowledgments. If you don't agree to those, it won't let you fill out the application. And then here we are on our application types. So now all three of our applications have these exact same types here. We have new applications, renewal applications, and change request applications. New applications is this site has never had a permit before or a product registration or a processing license. It's brand new. And we're going to fill out a new application, and it's going to have you answer all of the information about the facility and so on. A renewal application is my license is expired or is going to be expiring, and I would like to renew it. It already exists in the system. In that case, if you select renewal application, you should be able to bring up your application from last year, and it should populate in a lot of the information you filled in last year. It's a little wonky this year because we brought in the data as data tables, not actually applications, because it's a new system. And so in the future, renewals should be fairly simple because all the information you put in last year will be there. You'll just have to update it as applicable and then upload any applicable new documents such as background checks or any of those things that need to be submitted each year and so on. The change request is an option for you to be able to update your application for a thing at any time throughout the registration year. So this is either you have submitted an application to us and we have sent an email back to you saying we need more information and you need to update your application or add a document or something. You will be able to do that through this change request. You just resubmit it. It'll pull up everything you submitted before or that you had submitted before in your application. It just allows you to add more, update the fields or so on, and resubmit it. We would prefer that updates that are made to your application after submission happen through this change request. The main reason is to protect you and to protect us. So we know for sure that something has been submitted. I don't like the idea of if we send in something via email to one of our team, and because it's outside of the normal process, that email gets lost, and the next thing you know, this application's just sitting waiting because we didn't realize the picture we were waiting for or the information we were waiting for was sitting in an inbox that somebody didn't see or something like that. So in order to make sure that your applications get the attention they need when changes are needed, it's the change request application you're going to be filling out. Now, as another issue that some of you have seen, when you select this renewal application, first of all, when you select any application type, it's going to ask you to select a contact here. If there is no contacts here, or you don't see the contact you need here, right, then that means that person is not listed in your profile up here, and you'll need to go add them, or the primary contact will need to add them. So I've selected Eugene as going to be the contact for this account. And right here, when this says there are no existing applications to be renewed, well, that makes sense because this one has, I do have one retail application, but it's brand new. It's not near ready to be expiring. And so it's not going to show up on this list. If you have permits that you know, especially ones for 2023 that expired in December, that you know should be able to be renewed, but they're not listed here, you just need to reach out to us. We're trying to get it fixed on the back end. But there was an issue with the way the system is geared to be able to show you retail application or renewals, because we don't want to show you literally every application you have ever filled out. We only want to show you the most recent application for each license. So you can just select that one to renew. So if you know you have one and you don't have one showing up here, please reach out to us. You can just fill out a new application if you choose to do so. If you do that, then on the back end, we can get it reassociated with your old number and so on. And we'd prefer to do that so we can the continuity of license number or product registration number, so that kind of thing can be tracked over the life cycle of that license or that product would be best. And if that's the case, just let us know. It's not too challenging for us to fix on the back end, and we can take care of that. So I'm going to actually select new application here because I don't have any renewals. Now, right here is what I'm talking about. Many of you may have seen this screen and something was missing here, like the phone number was missing, or the email, or the name even, or all of the boxes are missing. If that's the case, that usually means that there's something missing on that contact that you selected up in the profile. If you do go to the profile and you see that Eugene's name is there, the phone number is there, the email, everything is there, but it's showing up as blank here, then reach out to us and we can sort it out on the back end and see why it's not populating down here. A couple things that we have noticed is I have seen some accounts where we'll have 3 or 4 contacts that have the same name. And if that's the case, the system won't know which one to put in this spot. And so each of the contacts need to have something to distinguish it from another one so it knows which one to pull in. So I've had people who had a first and last name the same, but they had a different email address. So they've logged in twice with 2 different Utah IDs. But when they come to fill out an application, the system doesn't know which to select. So I've added the email address to the back of the last name to specify which one is which. So another issue we have seen has been where we had an issue with the phone number. The phone number wasn't showing up, and some of those happen to be a issue on our side. It was a formatting issue, and I think we've fixed those. So if this is blank, let us know. This is the first choke point. The second one here is right here. So this is your business address from the from your profile, right? This is your overall account address. We see our business address, the physical address up here, and we see the mailing address here, right? Now, if you notice, I actually changed this before. I added a county. I added Utah County to this, but I have not approved the change request that I submitted. So we actually don't see that. If I was to approve the change request, then you'd see that updated right here. The additional locations, these are meant to be places that are outside of this address. So if Tip Top Hemp Shop is located at this address, then I don't need to add anything here. And we're going to actually add some verbiage here that should be showing up here soon to indicate that a little more clearly. But these are location. Is this permit somewhere different besides here? Okay. And if that is the case, then you just click add location and you will just fill in this information, the the company name. So this would be like if if it was a different store name or something like that, or Maverick number 123, or Smith's 457 or whatever. And then the address. And if you want to put any sort of additional description, you're free to do so. It is not required, but it could be like, second location or whatever. Okay. So that would be listed here. The last thing is this website. This also comes from your profile. It is not required. We would prefer it, but if there is no website here and you would like this to be listed here, you update it once again in your profile. And then the other thing is the DBAs, once again, also from profile. So retail permit is actually pretty basic. Most of the things come from your profile. And then all you do is, you can sign here with your finger or with a mouse. And then you just basically have to sign. You click capture signature. And then you type in, your name. And then we're going to click next. Now, at this point, it gives you the option. It says, okay, you've submitted this application. Now, this application is now going to show up on my dashboard under my applications. If I had quit out of this before I got to this point, it would show up under my draft applications. Okay. So it says here that the application was submitted. You will also get an email to your inbox to say that it is, let's see if I got it yet. It does not look like I got it yet. So, and it'll tell you the price of the license fee, etc. It's $50 for a retail permit. It's good for 1 year. It lasts from December to December. So it's calendar year. Okay. There's nothing we can do about that. If you come in with a license on October or later, we will allow it to last for the whole next year. But if it's before then, it will expire in the December of that year. You have the option of paying online with a credit card. And if you do so, you just confirm that you understand you're going to be going to the Chase website to be able to make a payment. You can say, I'm going to make an e-check, do an e-check as well, or you can say offline payment. If you say offline payment, you can select cash, check, money order, or wire transfer, right? These, you're going to have to contact our front desk, which their contact information is also going to be on my PowerPoint, to be able to make that payment. Now, a word of warning is we do not look at or review applications at all until they have been moved to application submitted status, and they are not moved to that point until a payment is made. The idea is as a state entity, we cannot do work that we have not been paid for, and the fees associated with our applications are what allows us to review and approve and inspect those particular facilities and or products and so on. So if you say offline payment and then you just forget to pay, just know we are not reviewing your product. We are not reviewing your license or your retail permit or so on. As we get less and less slammed with retail or with renewals, because it's renewal season for licenses right now, and getting people logged into Salesforce proper, we will be working on sending out notifications to remind people after an application has been in payment pending status for more than a week or so to remind you, hey, your application is in payment pending status. You need to get it taken care of and so on. If we reach out to you and that's the case, or you call us and you say, where's my application? I paid already. And online on your applications, it still says payment pending. There may be a mix-up between us and the front desk about a receipt, and if you have a receipt for payment and you can prove you paid for it, you can send it to us via email, and we can make sure that the payment gets applied appropriate to your account if there's any sort of issue like that. I'm going to say offline payment. I'm just going to select cash just so I can finish this this application. And it'll say right here, the last of the information, please print this page and mail it with your payment. And it'll give you the address and so on, how to be able to do it, where to call, where to go, and so on. And then you just click finish. So now I have submitted an application. If I go to my dashboard, I have my applications here. industrial hemp. I can see I have a second one right here now, and see this says, did I freeze? Are you okay? No, that's all right. Okay. I'm sorry, I was maybe have a little bit of technical issues. I now have a new application listed here that now it says that it is listed in payment pending status because we have said we are going to pay online or offline, and we have not made a payment yet. Once a payment has been made, this would get changed to application submitted, and that means that it is our time to review over that application. If we need any more information from you, we send you an email, and we include within that the change of status here would be changed to additional information requested. So you should be able to look at these applications to see the status of your applications and so on at any point. Now, when you submit, well, let's see, hold on, I have to do it real fast on my side. 2 seconds. Let's see, I'm going to actually pull up just to show you. My retail permit that I just filled out. We're going to change it to application submitted, and I'm going to give it a submitted date, which is 1/31 of 2024. Now, when I refresh this, now I can see my application date. It's now in the application submitted status, and it was submitted on 1/31/2024. And so if you have a question about your application, this would be the first place I'd check to see if it's sitting in payment pending status, or if it's sitting in additional information requested. That means we're waiting on information from you. And if you're not sure, you can, like I said, reach out to us. Now, we're getting close to being, I scheduled this for an hour. I think I'd put in the email on accident that it was going to be 2 hours, but I'm not going to do 2 hours today because I think our time would be better spent at this point of you guys filling out the forms and letting us know if you have any questions, issues, logging into the system. I just wanted to make sure that I cover the last couple things. The retail permit application, the processing license application, and the product registration application work essentially the same way. You just need to fill out the specific questions that are asked for you on the applications. Just be aware if you leave any information off the application, even if it allows you to continue, it will just delay the approval of your application because we may not know if you have done all of the or if there's something missing, we won't be able to do it. We're going to have to reach out to you and say, hey, we need you to submit this information. One area that people have, we've already noticed that people have made, we've discovered issues specifically with processor applications. When you fill out a new application, it asks you specifically for processor applications, it asks you which sections of the, I'm just going through this real quick. I'm going to say Eugene. So it asks you here which sections you want to fill out. So for a new license, you're going to need to fill out every section. So you hit select all sections. Now, if you do not select all the sections and there is information in that one of those sections that needed to be updated, such as a file upload for a background check or a question that needs to be filled out or something like that, it'll let you skip past that, and we might not be able to review your application because we might be missing stuff. So we might reach out to you and say, hey, you submitted an application, but you didn't upload a particular document. The reason might be because you did not select each section. The idea is to allow people to just update the sections that are relevant. But for the processing application, because I don't think it's very long, my advice to you guys would be is to always just select all sections and to go over it until you're comfortable and familiar with it. And then you can pick the sections that are relevant. Now, I just wanted to touch base on a couple of basic issues just to recap. Common issue number one that we see is the primary contact has been notified, but you're the primary contact and you don't know how to add yourself. The solution to that situation is to reach out to us and we will connect you from our portal account onto your account proper. It means that you just use a different email address than the one that we have on file and we couldn't connect you to your account. The second issue would be is if you cannot locate your account either, and this could be for a variety of things because when we created these accounts, if the same email address was used for several licenses, permits, or whatever, they were rolled into one single account because the same individual filled out all those applications. If you are in a situation where those should all be separate and they needed to be separated out, you let us know and we'll separate them. But if it's okay to leave them together, sometimes the name of the account might have been your oldest permit, or it may have been the address may have been the first license you ever got, and it might not be appropriate for your overall account. And if that's the case, let us know. But if you just can't locate your account, reach out to us and we can dig out around a little bit and see. And if we can't find anything, if there's nothing in our system or anything like that, then we'll just have you create a new one. And then like I said, if you can't find your licenses or your product registrations, they're not showing up on the list, reach out to us and let us know. It's either that the submission date is preventing it from showing up because of the algorithm that pulls in your renewal applications, or the other possibility of the issue is that your products might be on one account just by the way the data came into the system, and your retail permits might be on another account. And you might be logged into the retail permit account, so you might not see the product registrations. And if that's the case, we will get you sorted. And then I wanted to show the form really quick that I'm going to be sending out to everybody here. Let's see. No, that's not the one. So I'm going to be sending out this link to everybody. These are the questions. If you can help us with this information to help triage these and get them sorted as quick as we possibly can. The information I'm looking for is, what is your name, the name of the business, and if you know any license numbers, retail permits, product registration numbers, anything that you can provide here, just further helps me figure out which account is yours, right? And then let me know what email address is tied to the UTA ID that you managed to log in with. If you've not logged in yet at all, or you haven't been able to log in, but you have a UTA ID already, tell me what that email address is. And then provide me with a phone number that we can reach out to discuss any questions. If we have a question about how your account should go together or anything like that, give us a number so we can call you. And then please describe your issue here. I can't get past my contact information page on my retail permit because the phone number is missing, or I'm getting an authentication error because it says my account already exists, or I don't see my retail permit renewal application, those kinds of things, or I just couldn't connect at all. Just keep in mind, like I said, if it's a UTA ID thing, if it's asking you for a password, if it's saying what is the last name of the person who created this account, that is not anything we can control. You have to reach out to UTA ID to solve that issue. And if they make you create a new UTA ID because you don't have access, let us know and we can connect that new UTA ID to your current account. You just need to log back in and we just need to couple you to the right one. Then just as a very brief but exciting news that we have before I wrap this up, currently it is the state legislature is currently in session right now. And those of you who have been paying attention, there is a hemp bill this year that is currently been heard. I would strongly suggest going to the Utah legislative website. I will also include that in the email or on the PowerPoint. But the big change that we are excited to be coming through, and I just want to make sure that I'm very clear about this, is this has not been passed into law yet. We are hopeful and positive that it will be, but we cannot guarantee that it will be passed because, as some of you may know, a couple years ago, the hemp bill got vetoed by the governor when we thought everything was wrapped up. So until it's passed, we can't say for certain, but one of the big changes is that as of right now, the hemp program has been has requested that we work an alternative funding structure that is based on the taxes of the sale of hemp products for us to be able to operate our budget on, which will allow us to reduce the fees for product registration specifically. So if the bill passes, and most likely it would go into effect July 1st. At that point, the product registration fee is included in the bill to be removed, and it will no longer cost $325 to register products within the state of Utah at that point, pending, of course, once again, that the bill passes. It has to be passed and be signed by the governor into law. And if that's the case, it would most likely, because it's a fiscal impact, it would go into effect July 1 of the upcoming July 1, 2024, which is the beginning of the fiscal year. If that's the case, then it wouldn't cost anything. It would still lab testing would still be something that would have to be paid for. This doesn't affect any of that. Processing license fees and retail permit fees will still be in place. This just affects product registrations, but hopefully this means that for retailers and product registrants, that more products get registered, more availability is out there in the market, and ultimately what it comes down to is we want the program to succeed. We have a mandate by the state government to make sure that this program succeeds, and we're doing our best to try and hopefully give it as best of a shot as we can. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. I appreciate everybody who jumped on. It looks like we got a decent amount of participants who came. Thank you for attending. This video will be saved. It will be uploaded to our website. I will also include a link to the video in the email that I send out to everybody. And please fill out the form and let us know what problems you're having with Salesforce. Well, AIMS, I'm sorry. Salesforce is the program that it's built on. And we can go from there. Thank you, everybody, and I